Yep, I got it. We're almost live, Beena.
Okay, going
What?
there.
Almost there, almost there. There we go. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be here. Very happy to be here. Ah, all right. Beena, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? What are we doing today? While I set it up, you catch us up and go
Yes. Okay.
through what we're all about.
Hello, and welcome everyone to
Hmm.
another live, another Sunday, new story, new chapter actually.
Well,
And this,
second part of the existing chapter to be
yes,
precise.
second
So
part
it's
of
kind of like a new chapter, though. It is.
yes, every time it is new, a completely
Yeah.
different topic, and this
Yeah.
is the magic of this story
Yeah.
that everything is so unpredictable, not not something that you can assume like okay, yeah, this is what about it. At least this is what is happening for me. I cannot assume or predict beforehand that okay, this is what the next chapter is all about. So this is so profound about this
Yeah.
and exciting also. Other than that, this story,
One
yes,
second. One
yeah,
second. There's comments. There's comments from somebody that I don't want to interrupt you, but it's very important. Very important. I
please,
wanted
please
this.
read, please read.
Oh, you're not seeing. Ah, that's right. Yes, you don't have that open. Yeah. So Lisa says, good morning. But she
Good
also
morning,
says,
Lisa.
yes, but she also said not the same as more goodness. Is that what you
Hmm.
said? I'm off the comments here now. Oh, come on, my computer's slow. Lisa teasing us. Brilliant, brilliant.
Yes, yes, it
I'm
can
thrilled.
go. It can go both ways. More
Yeah,
goodness and good bonus. And Lisa, thank you so much for bringing this new way of greeting each other because it is so
yeah.
intriguing
So,
and it is so abstract. Like you can use it in any time zone, in any
oh,
situation. You can
yeah, I got
always
it wrong. She says good morness, but not the same as more goodness. Yeah, so now I got it right. All right, brilliant. All right,
okay.
brilliant. I
Okay.
love that you hear, Lisa. I love that you hear. This is most
Yes.
important. So,
And this is exactly as all the vocabulary and of course the terms and dictionary of power terms should be
mm,
because it is almost always appropriate. You
yeah,
can say it when someone is in grief. You can say it when someone is
yeah.
celebrating. It is when you can say it in any situation and people will actually acknowledge this and accept this. So this is so profound of this. I love this term. And since you actually introduce it, we are using it. So from that moment, it is the term from Way-of-Impeccability and moreness, of course.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much, Lisa. Again, coming back to this story, I I'm actually okay. It is kind of like I'm excited, but
Mm,
also I'm cautious. Why I'm cautious? Because the way this story is unfolding, it brings so much to think about, to rethink about, to reevaluate our understanding, to reevaluate our self conception, to reevaluate our whole system, the society we are living in, the culture we are living in, the morals and value we are projecting. Everything this story is putting it on reevaluation, the need of reevaluation. So we can be deliberate about everything and deliberately choose everything. It is not going to just leave everything behind. It's still, of course, I feel personally, because this is so far my experience with moreness and compatibility. It is not about leaving anything. It is about
mm,
actually deliberately choosing them. And And when we choose something deliberately, we own it completely. Then we don't need to even preempt, as Biella was saying that, okay, extrapolation and all that, we rarely do. Because once you choose something deliberately, you already become aware of the possible might be's of those actions and gestures and conceptions. So everything will come later. You will always be some sort of aware of it. Yes, things can go completely out of nowhere, but mostly when we choose things deliberately, we become aware of what might come with the possibilities already. Every single choice. Like when I'm buying a shirt, I'm just using a very simple example. When I'm buying a shirt and I'm not buying it, but just because that, okay, I want to show off, or just because that, okay, I just feel good to spend money, I'm choosing it deliberately that, okay, this is the fabric I want because it is suitable for me. I'm looking for the functionality, I'm looking for the durability and everything. It's a deliberate choice. So whatever will happen to this or come as a consequence, like, okay, in summer it is comfortable. Okay, in winters it's also comfortable because I choose the natural fabric, whatever. I'm just saying that, okay, whenever we make any deliberate choice, almost we become aware of all the possible consequences of that choice. So we don't need to practice preempting extrapolation in future, most likely. Sometimes, yes, but very rarely. That was the thing, that was the sentence which really struck me when Biala was saying that this is something we do, but very rarely.
The
It's a
preempting
choice.
part, not the extrapolating, the preempting part.
Yes, the
Yeah.
preempting part. And I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. And then later on, it becomes like, duh, every
Yeah.
deliberate choice
Yeah.
actually eliminate the need or the pressure or stress of preempting because you already become aware of it. At that time, you actually preempt or and think about it, thinking it through to the end. And then everything
Yeah.
becomes so simple. So, yes, in the beginning, sometimes way of impeccability or moreness behavior seems very energy consuming that, oh my God, and too much stress. Like now I'm going to be like thorough about everything. It just takes too much energy. I cannot do this. It's too much and all these. But it is just a phase. And when we cross that phase, life becomes so easy and fun. Life becomes so easy and fun. Everything start making sense. And then you start living by attunement. This is the magic of this whole
Yeah.
story for me. This is the magic of this whole Moreness project and way of impeccability for me. I am actually feeling so fortunate to have this opportunity to be actually in this company, of course, like of you guys and with Syl, and
Yes, I
also
feel the
to have
same. I feel the same. Yes,
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 and
yes.
also to have access to this information is not about to change anything in my life. It is
Wow.
just makes me aware to evaluate before acquiring anything, before making any choice. This is the ability, this is the skill. And then you got somehow, I saw some people and I can say that I'm on my way to become like that because sometimes it happens with me also. You got the superpower, you acquire the superpower to see things happens in ultra motion. What I'm saying is that I can just say about myself. So that's why I'm sharing this. But sometimes I get this observation, which seems like that I am able to see things in ultra motion. So I can actually pick all the details, if not all, almost all the details. So I can see more than what other people are seeing in that situation. And it's a superpower. If I can really acquire this completely and fully, I can call it like really, it's a superpower.
It
Because
is.
what is happening in those brief moments, it can go unnoticed and used to go unnoticed very easily. It was like, duh, of course, yes, human cannot see this. Oh, how can I be aware
Yeah.
of it? But when you become your mind get attuned with way of impeccability, then you can actually see more than what is obvious. more than
Yes.
what is visible to others. That
Yes.
is something
Yes.
so
Or
huge.
to be more precise, more than it was visible to you before. Or,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly,
rather
exactly.
than, yeah, yeah,
Thank you so much for saying that, because
yeah,
at least this is for sure that I
yeah.
can see more than what I used to see before
Mm.
in the same situation. My mind, my eyes, my ears get attuned with capital H hearing and capital S seeing now. So it takes so much less time than before. Before, the things I was really thinking about, try to figure out, and really spending so much time and energy on to figure it out. Now they are becoming easy for me.
Yes,
They
yes,
become
it's a
so
profound
easy.
difference. It's a
Yes.
profound difference. I don't want to say others because I don't really care much for comparisons. And I understand what you mean that, at least we assume that our perceptions are similar to most around us. I mean, and there's good reason for it sometimes, but still, I try not to do that. And
Yes.
and
No,
you
thank
not
you
you
so much
neither.
for
Yeah,
bringing that. Thank you so much for
yeah.
making me aware
I
of it.
was
I
making
was
it
not saying
clear
that.
for why
Yes.
why I'm making that discernment, because this is something that's part of way of impeccability. And since we're on Nobelia, and we aspire to Nobelia-Living, this is something that is just part of Nobelia-Living. Yeah. I love it, Beena. I
Yes.
love it. Keep going. This is
Yes.
a big point. This is a big point. It's a very, very, very big point. When we see
Yes.
more, there is more understanding. Precisely. Uh, Sher was asking about the dictionary of power. What do you call what's in the dictionary of power? And one, they are power conceptions. But she was wondering if they a particular kind of a belief maybe. And I was saying no, they self-evident sensibilities. So there's no belief involved. A
Mm-hmm.
self-evident sensibility is something like honesty,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have to explain why honesty is sensible. It's self-evident. Yes. Or
Yes.
accuracy or efficiency, competency, impeccability. Yeah. All of these self-evident sensibilities. Yeah. So this is a very powerful thing that we're trying to move away from beliefs. And that's really powerful. I'm sorry, it was just on my mind, and it's somehow a bit loosely connected to what you were saying, Beena. But
Yes.
this is when we see more, we don't need to rely on beliefs, because we
Yes.
do start to see the underlying abstract conceptuality that's
Mm-hmm.
involved. And we have that understanding of what's going on, because we are applying awareness, we are applying discernment, and we are applying understanding. And then we use that for application in our lives. And this is a
Yes.
very, very, very big deal. Very big deal that we do this. And then,
Yes.
so when we get to that point, we're making a lot of effort to do this. It's not like we have some, superior skill, or no, we're just making a lot of effort,
Of
to
course. Of
apply
course.
awareness, discernment, and understanding. It just takes time and energy and effort. But because we
Exactly.
love it, it's not an onerous effort. It's a joyful effort. I mean, play
Exactly.
is effort also, but play is effort that you enjoy making. Yeah. So this is
Exactly.
play for us. We enjoy
and and
making
and
this
and,
effort.
and
Yeah.
including myself, of course, whoever just say things about like workout and other things. um,
Yeah.
this is exactly what we do. And then
Yeah.
of and
Yeah.
why we do that, because we know that it is important, it is necessary,
Yeah.
and also it is appropriate. And second thing, that we are aware of the results, so we
Yeah.
trust that okay, whatever the energy I'm consuming, investing in,
Yeah.
it is going to give me results, and that
Yeah.
that desired result. And the same
Right.
thing applies for every learning process, whatever the energy. And as Sil was mentioning before, that okay, people get really put off by the unpleasant task, what's the point in it? Yes, also sometimes we get put off by when we are not able to understand things completely, like the in the early days, the importance and the functionality of dictionary of power,
Yeah.
that doesn't actually make sense to me. It was not making sense, and I was the one who was, I guess, I'm the guilty of also not following this. I didn't do that. And I was like, okay, yes, I know, because used to have a photographic memory. So I was just relying on my memory. But why it was so important and it was so necessary, why Sil was keep insisting on that? Because later on I realized that it is not about just the concept, because the concept and the perspectives, of course, get clear in the Zoom sessions, and of course some from some slides also, mostly in Zoom sessions. But it is about organizing that information and knowledge and awareness in our own mind so it can be easily accessible.
Yeah.
That is the main philosophy behind
Exactly. Exactly.
it.
Exactly. This is
And,
really
and
critical.
because
Yeah.
yes, because these concepts and ideas are so profound and so much in detail, so we need something simple, like our
Mm,
function keys
mm.
on the top of our keyboard. We have that. All
Exactly.
the function keys
Exactly.
have specific function to
Exactly.
perform. When we press just
Exactly.
one key, it performs a small program.
Yes.
Same
F1 is
exactly.
is
Yes,
appropriateness. F2
and
is
same exactly
impeccability.
like the dictionary of power. And I used to say
Yeah.
this for the when my Chinese friends were trying to explain the importance and the value of acupuncture and acupressure, and they were saying, oh, these points are so important. And because I was in computer field, so I was just saying that, okay, oh, these are like our bodies are like keyboard, and all these
Yeah.
are okay keys, and it performs. You are pressing this key here and it is going to perform some function. Okay, because I was helping them, that's for the reason.
Yeah.
But actually what I see that in real application with the logical reasoning behind that is where a dictionary of power,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
create our own understanding and awareness, and then say it in few words, and then assign a function key or a term for that particular very simple one. For me, my dictionary of power contains "the."
Exactly. It's a
Yes.
very
Okay,
powerful
that doesn't
term.
make
Yeah.
sense to anyone. Like, okay, how this can
Yeah.
be a dictionary of power term? But because I do have a conception behind that, my own understanding. So whenever I say, oh, it becomes "the," or like, okay, it
Yeah.
is "the," then I know that it connects to all the previous memories of my discussions with Sil, and of course with all other participants, and all the sharing what Sil was sharing at that time. It connects to all those memories. Duh. Okay, okay, now I remember
Exactly.
what Phil was saying at the
Exactly.
time, what other people were saying at the time, and what was
Exactly.
the whole concept. So these function keys are so important, and these the dictionary of power. And same with the
Yeah.
repeat backs. It is so tiring. It is literally so tiring and so irritating sometimes that, oh, why I have to do that? I'm not a school kid anymore. But we need to actually improve this understanding, because this
Exactly.
is exactly what happens in our communicate in the telecommunication, in the internet, and every time we are seeing
The
that,
computer.
when we
Yeah.
get irritated with, okay, why the search engine is not working, we need to pay attention that how much time we are investing in to better
Yes.
our own
Yes.
communication.
Yes. And
Look
also,
how
it's
smart
not
our
the
Google,
search.
search engines become.
Yeah. It's not the search engine's fault. It's your search terms problem.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
That
the
is,
when we understand the conceptionality, it
yes,
is like superpower search terms.
yes,
A conceptionality that has been well thought through and connected
yes,
to and understood. The moment you pop it into search in your brain, it brings up everything that's pertinent and relevant to it only, right?
yes,
So if you have the appropriate query, all you get is exactly what is connected to that. And maybe a little extra, but you don't get a million pages of search terms, right? So that's the
yes,
dictionary of power. It's already everything there condensed packed. So it's not just a list of your terms. Each dictionary of power conception also has associated with it your personal extended understanding. What does this mean to me? And over time, you keep adding to that. You don't delete the previous ones. You say, oh, wait a second, I understood it this way, but I didn't quite get it. But now you add the update, because it's very useful to see how your brain progresses through the thinking, the understanding, the awareness, and it keeps deepening, it keeps understanding. This is very powerful. This is very powerful. These extended, deeper understandings, they are very, very profound. They make a huge difference because, like you were saying, it's about the efficiency of the brain. The bane of unawareness is inefficient thinking, lazy thinking, sloppy thinking, yes, all over the show thinking, like overthinking. Overthinking has become this big thing. It was never a thing. I don't
Yeah.
really think there is such a thing as overthinking. You think till it's done and then you're done. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just it's like, why would you want to eat more? Well, I suppose you could, but it makes no sense. It's like overeating. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you enjoy thinking, but really, what overthinking is just inefficient thinking. And
Mhm.
actually, it's not that you're thinking too much. It's that you're looping on thinking the same things. Why?
Mhm.
Because you don't want to face and deal with the awful truth mostly, right? So that's why. Or you're getting stuck because you say, well, I'm kind of, I don't know, and you're not really making the effort to actually think about it and do the task, do the work. So it's kind of the easier thing to say, well, I don't know, and then you just loop and loop and loop, and you get into that model, right? So it's just lazy, ineffective thinking, yeah, inaccurate thinking.
Yes.
But to give an understanding here, real quick, on or just what we're saying about a dictionary of power entry, uh, I'll screen share real quick and show. This is just, over time, obviously these things build up and grow. But impeccability, yes, I would assume that I understand the term, but that doesn't mean that my ability to express it doesn't get added
Just
to.
wanna say something, Sil, before you
Go ahead,
start,
go ahead.
because this is
Yeah,
something very important for me. Because
yeah,
this was the idea in my mind that, okay, yes, now I have learned enough. That was the
yeah,
idea that, okay, now I have learned enough. Why to
yeah.
keep always updating? Or like, okay, oh, and then
Always,
keep learning, keep
always.
learning, keep learning, keep
Yeah,
learning. It is too tiring. Okay, who can do this and all these things? But then I
yeah.
realized that, do I really wear the same clothing as I used to wear in my childhood?
Exactly.
Do I really
No,
eat the same food like my
right.
cereals, which I used to eat in my childhood?
Yeah,
I mean, just all of them. No.
yeah,
Do I
yeah,
really
yeah.
speak like the way I used to? No. My fashion
No,
sense is changing like on continuous basis.
exactly,
Everything is
exactly,
changing, evolving.
exactly.
Are we using the same car models like our
Yeah,
grandparents used
yeah,
to? No. Uh,
yeah.
we are improving continuously in everything. But when it comes to awareness and learning and growing, we become a bit lazy. First time I'm
Exactly.
using this term, first ever I'm using this term, that
Ha.
it's an awful truth that we are actually lazy and we don't want to face it, that
Yeah,
we will struggle in learning. That is the main reason. It was the main reason for me, that to avoid, and then I was creating all sort of excuses. Like we eat every day to maintain, to keep, to be alive, to make keep our body alive all the time and functional.
yeah.
We, it's a maintenance. We do trim
Yes,
our hair on regular basis to
yes.
become more presentable. It's a maintenance. We
Yeah,
do take
yeah,
showers and brush our
yeah,
teeth and do all sorts of other things. It's all maintenance. Why we are doing this? Unfortunately, not ideal, but human life is like that.
yeah, yeah,
90% of our life and
yeah.
our life businesses are just maintenance.
Exactly. Now, why do we
Why
do
not in the
maintenance?
awareness? Why
Right,
not in the awareness?
exactly. Exactly. Now, we understand that when it comes to maintenance of in daily things, if I don't do that little bit every day, that I get behind and then it becomes a big deal to do it. Yeah.
Yes.
And I have problems. That's what
Yes.
happens with thinking. That's why lazy thinking is really actually very flawed. It's based on the premise that, well, it's too much effort. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal or whatever, right? I'll put it off for later. That I'm somehow going to benefit. It's a lesser use of energy to not think now. It's not. It's going to cost you more later on. and they're going to cost you problems. So this point about making sure that we do the requiredness in our thinking and actually not make it an onerous thing, learn to enjoy thinking, and then it doesn't become stressful. For whatever reason, thinking has become unpleasant for many people. I guess because they don't want to face and deal with the awful truth. But once you learn that when you actually face and deal with an awful truth, it becomes the awesome truth, then that life is easy. Then thinking becomes a joy. And it's not thinking as in being intellectual. It's figuring out. It's coming to understanding, coming to awareness, knowing. This is a great and deep, deep joy, right? This is a very different thing. Ah, Cheryl is here. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Cheryl. So of all my friends that are online, only two are online right now, and that's Lisa and Cheryl. So everybody else, I guess, is still
Thank you.
sleeping. I find this too fascinating. I find this too fascinating. So it's too, well, I'm sorry, and Beena, of course. Besides
I'm
Beena.
not included in this because I'm living
Yeah,
in a different time zone, so I cannot be
yeah,
sleepy.
yeah,
I don't have any
yeah,
excuse for that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
of
Well,
course, and I
yeah,
don't want to have any
yeah,
excuse for that
yeah, yeah.
because
Perfect.
I truly enjoy that. What you are
Yes.
saying, Phil, exactly. This is that's why I was saying that. Okay, first time I'm using this term. That Janet is also here.
Oh,
Yes.
Janet here, and Sher too, and Sher too. She didn't say hello, Sher, and Janet didn't say hello. You guys gotta say hello so that I know
Oh,
you're
sure.
here.
Janet says that. Okay. Okay. Now say
Oh,
that.
wonderful. Oh, Janet
Hello,
is here too.
Janet.
I
Hello,
love it. I
Lisa.
love it.
Hello,
I love
Cheryl.
it.
Hello, Cher,
I
of
love it.
course.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So
Oh, brilliant.
this thing
Brilliant.
about when we keep those things like, okay, we manicure our, like, because I just remember a beautiful pedicure. I saw Cheryl's picture, beautiful pedicure.
Oh, right, right,
I was really admiring,
right.
beautiful color, and and
Yes.
and then she shared the picture. We do that pedicure also.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
like always a thing.
Yeah.
So
Even
when we
made
are
that
doing,
crazy little toe look good.
yes. Even
Yeah.
that one, even that one looks good. So
Yeah.
this is the real success of a pedicure. If your
Yes.
teeny tiny one also look good.
Yes. Now, if you
So
know Cheryl, you know we can tease Cheryl like this because
yes,
Cheryl,
no, but
yeah,
it was really good. She had
yeah,
that pink
it
color,
was.
summery pink, beautiful color.
It was.
Anyway, so what I was saying that, okay, if we really look at our lives as humans, we will see that more than 90% of our activities, I can really go like 99% because I personally feel that
Yeah.
it is 99%. It's all about just maintaining our life, everything, maintaining this
Yes.
body,
But when do we
maintaining this
extend?
life, everything is about that. So,
When do we extend? When do we extend? If we're
okay,
always focused on maintenance, we don't always, we need to make that extra effort to extend ourselves,
yes,
to
yes.
venture into
So,
moreness.
so of
Yeah.
course, when everything is about maintenance, so why not just
Yeah.
about the awareness also can be included into the maintenance part? Why it becomes
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
stressful
Exactly.
for us?
And
So
if we
yes,
maintain awareness, it grows. We can maintain the growth of awareness. Very powerful.
yes, yes.
Very powerful.
So once we get into this motion, this of learning and growing, we assume that, okay, so it's a subway.
Yeah.
I just hopped on, and then the next step I'm stop. I'm going to just hopped off.
Yeah. Yeah. So
This is
Cheryl says, you
this is the
too are funny.
okay.
Yeah, but see, I'm
Oh,
having fun with Cheryl's comment with my
okay.
pronunciation.
Yes, I
You
know that.
too are
I
funny.
yeah.
You are very
Okay.
funny, Cheryl.
Okay. Yes,
It's not what
Cheryl.
you said.
Yes.
It's not what you said. It's not what you typed. It's not what you typed. It's what I'm pronouncing. Self-care has
Thank you.
become a new intent. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Self-care
Absolutely.
needs to be extended to our conceptuality.
Yes. Yes.
This is critical. This is critical. That's how we connect to moreness and we make our lives more efficient, more effective. That's why the glue is way of impeccability, not way of awareness, not way of appropriateness, but way of impeccability. Because it's best use of energy, core definition. If we don't learn to manage and utilize our energy efficiently, we just end up in this mess always and we never get anywhere because we never have energy to do more with us. So it's
Okay.
all about this best use of energy. It's the starting point, the core of
Absolutely.
it, right?
Absolutely.
It's crucial. It's absolutely
Yes.
crucial.
Okay.
I
So you are going to start the story, and before that,
I
I just
am.
want to say that Ramsey, Norma, and Elizabeth. We are missing you. Missing you guys. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Elizabeth
So,
can't come anymore, unfortunately.
oh, okay.
Uh, but she's not on Facebook anymore for the time being. So
Okay.
just
Okay.
stuff going on in her life. So we do miss you,
Okay.
Elizabeth. We do hope that you find a way back to come again. And yeah,
Yes.
and Ramsey and Norma. Norma's not online, so I'm assuming Norma Sunday maybe she had to do something. So
Okay.
all right, and
No
Ramsey, we
problem. We're
miss you
just
too. So.
missing you guys. So I
We'll,
understand.
we'll 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 get going. We'll get going. Right. So, all right, here we go. We'll start the Delegates, Comelius, chapter 4, part 2. So the second half of this part. We start with a quote: "The path is the path. It's the destination and the beginning in every moment." Ursula the aspirant. The new nobility take great care not to generalize. It's why there are no formal rules laid down. The situation always dictates. There will be times when no matter what we do or don't do, there will be consequence. Or don't do, there will be consequence. And of course, non-action can be just as influential as action. When we're aware of the consequences of both ahead of time, we have to choose. The new nobility don't have a code of ethics as such. Yet, any who know us and have studied us know we can be regarded as ethical to a fault. However, it's always an individual response to the particular situation. When one thinks things through and is attuned with a greater system, the choices end up not really being choices. There's usually an obvious solution. The choices come into play as to how much personal preference to include. There's typically some leeway there. This is where the strategic ethics comes into play. This is all Biella explaining. Biella took a few deliberate breaths to extend the pause. The new nobility as a whole have few personal preferences. They tend to want whatever the situation demands, especially since they live responsively. But there are a great variety of styles as to how they implement what's appropriate. With their facility to see from multiple perspectives, this is a natural outcome. Combining these style choices with viewing every situation from multiple contexts adds an onus on the new nobility to choose wisely. An onus none take lightly. It's sacred to us. To abuse that onus of making good choices is unthinkable. It's why manipulation, in the ordinary sense of the word, is out of the question. The way in which the new nobility see and experience their world, their awareness combined with appropriateness and enhanced by extrapolation, can be seen as manipulation, no matter what they do. If one wants to go that way, they usually know what effects their non-actions will have. Regardless, they always have to choose. Strategic ethics is one tool in their arsenal for dealing with this profound responsibility. Biella wanted to wrap it up. She didn't want to lose them to tiredness. Strategic ethics are the ethics of anticipation, she added. The new nobility rarely, if ever, initiate, she said. It seems like they do, because they have actions ready to slot into the exact moment. But really, when one thinks about it, she halted, wanting them to do exactly that. When one thinks about it, they are actually always responding, capital R responding. They are responding to the flow and stream of events. That responding, that being attuned, that's where the joy you see so evident in the new nobility comes from. Biella closed the circle of discussion, taking care to leave an opening for further comments as needed, if anyone chose. Comelius spoke. This is the way I understand it. So, before a situation is manifest, it exists as probability within a cloud of multiple probabilities. But not all probabilities are equally probable. There is a way things want to go, you could say. There is these more probable probabilities are the appropriate. Beautifully said, Comelius. Beautifully said. I'm going to repeat what Comelius says. This is the way I understand it. So, before a situation is manifest, it exists as probability within a cloud of multiple probabilities. But not all probabilities are equally probable. There is a way things want to go. You could say these more probable probabilities are the appropriate. Strategic awareness is the sensitivity to the probability that could make the appropriate more evident. Of all the perceived probabilities, the appropriate stands out, like a brighter star in a sky full of stars, when strategic awareness is applied. To ignore the universe's cue and to choose instead the probability which is simply self-serving is to actually act against the universe, which of course is not likely to end well, since in doing so you have betrayed your own intention. That's actually Comelius saying that. To ignore the universe's cue and to choose instead the probability which is simply self-serving is to actually act against the universe, which of course is not likely to end well, since in doing so you have betrayed your own intention. Yes, exactly, Biella said evenly. She was content to let him spell it out. An integral part of the new nobility's process was to have members of a discussion explain back what they had come to understand, to give their takeaways, the only way to be sure understanding had been reached. Repeat backs and takeaways, very key. Comelius continued. He'd resumed his pacing and beard stroking. And in this way, it can be seen the new nobility were not manipulating the situation. They were manifesting the appropriate. Ursula joined in. What choice did they have? Allowing the situation to collapse when a solution was at hand would have been ethically intolerable. Once we're aware, whatever we do is a deliberate choice. What a profound thing to say. Allowing the situation to collapse when a solution was at hand would have been ethically intolerable. Once we're aware, whatever we do is a deliberate choice, including non-doing, non-action. Well said, Ursula. Exactly the crux of the issue. Biella added, the strategic part also puts into play options which raise and lower probabilities, a most delicate procedure, occasionally involving judgment, as in choosing the name agglomeration. In this particular case, something which had to be adopted on the spot. The universe had not suggested it or hinted at anything, purely an intuitive leap, but a personal choice nonetheless. The new noble in question had been impeccable, of course, not exercising personal choice, simply going with what had become available inside, completely trusting his personal power. Comelius submerged deep into thought. Biella enjoyed watching him work through it all and wishing more people would do this. It made such a difference. It was so easy to just assume understanding had been reached, even if all said so. Yes, Biella confirmed, because the issue was not what name was chosen. The issue was that a name was chosen with consensus. Non-self-concern about what the name was allowed for openness from within to receive a particular name which would be accepted. In this case, the name with enough correct connotation to be appropriate, but just unusual enough to be free of pre-existing associations for any of the conference to object to. Biella elaborated with some added information. It turned out to be perfect and original, as these things typically do. It unfolded later with prescient brilliance, it seemed. The new noble was wildly hailed as a visionary, but in actuality, it had just come to him in the moment. The new agglomeration was small back then. New areas of space were subsequently discovered. New planet groupings were encountered. These had names which had been on the list, and some were most reluctant to give up their names. Some hung onto them for a long time, until new planet associations were encountered, which had the same name. So far, no agglomerations have been encountered. And because of the unique name and the uniqueness of the new nobility, almost all the other groups joined the agglomeration. Ursula smiled with awareness. It's funny how so much can depend on so little. Comelius was in full classic intellectual mode, representing the dominant culture of his world. The motto on the Comelius coat of arms is non sibi, which means not for himself. I always thought it was a good motto, as such go. He seemed to shift to a personal recollection as he said, slipping in between two opposing forces. The fact that there are two opposing forces is not a problem. It's what allows it all to go forward. Leverage, in short, he stated. The new nobility love leverage. It comes into play in all facets of their lives and awareness, Biella said. Comelius continued. And yet there is still that wonderful truth elucidated by Socrates at his trial when accused of corrupting the youth of Athens to further his own interest. To truly act in one's own self-interest is to actually act in the interest of the whole, which the neocons slyly reversed too. To act in the interest of the whole is to act in one's own self-interest. Wow, what a subtle point. The original and the reversal. Wow. An ancient philosopher from one of the original human planets, Biella added, for those not familiar with old human literature and culture. Should be enough context to figure it out. She wanted to keep them connected to Comelius. He was wrapping this up nicely. Biella added, the new nobles see it as doing both simultaneously. The missing key is the means of deciding what's best, either for ourselves or for the whole. The universe is the connecting link, the missing piece of the puzzle. Yes, of course, Comelius flatly added. He'd moved on. What they call the authentic self is really just the character we want to be, the one that best realizes and expresses our intention. It is our intention which we identify with at the bottom of it all, not ourself, whatever that is. Biella put in, to the new nobility there is no particular self, only whatever is appropriate. Comelius looked up from his pacing. Good perspective helps keep you unstuck, he said, favoring them with a disarmingly warm smile. There are no perspectives which are more true than any others. There are only perspectives which are more useful or less useful vis-a-vis our intention. He'd somewhat slipped into lecture mode. I like vis-a-vis. It is like in regard to, but more objective, since in regard to implies a seer and a seen, but vis-a-vis, literally face to face, acknowledges that both are seer and seen. He paused. So, in other words, it's not just me being fancy, it's a deliberate choice. They were treated to another smile. He was enjoying himself, and the other delegates were listening. He seemed to be helping them marshal their own thoughts and perspectives. So maybe that means our intention is not inert. It's something that interacts with us, just as we interact with it, he concluded. Yes, Biella said, just a trifle louder than needed. Comelius had brought up a key topic. Intent, she said, emphasizing the word with a slight correction of the way Comelius had expressed it. To the new nobility, intent is the universe. How exciting, Comelius interjected. Biella elaborated. All know the universe is ultimately comprised of energy. We see consciousness as having imprinted or induced itself onto that energy. We see consciousness as having imprinted or inducted or induced itself onto that energy. In much the same way, a moving magnet will induce an electrical current into a coil of conducting material. A simplified view. Theories and hypotheses surrounding this concept are plentiful and varied. But the consequence we agree on. To the new nobility, it doesn't matter how we get there, even if there is provable. The new nobility care about usefulness. Does it have value and can it be used? To some, this sounds a bit mercenary, but it's the scrupulous honesty of the new nobility which brings them to that point. And their practicality, it's important. Practical use and value is a central theme to the new nobility. They tend to come at problems from the other end, as it were. Can we make this work for us? Comes first. Then let's figure out how exactly all this works. Biella was interested in how they would respond to the concept of the universe being intent. She added, the new nobility have come to the conclusion that the intent of the universe is that consciousness or awareness enhance itself. Wow. The new nobility have come to the conclusion that the intent of the universe is that consciousness or awareness enhance itself. Everything in the universe seems geared to helping and assisting this process of awareness development and enhancement. They came to this understanding as a result of individual new nobles sharing their personal stories of how amazingly things would work out for them once they attuned with the flow of things. As they compared stories, they began to see patterns, the inevitable conclusions. This is key. The new nobility in no way ever asks or even assumes anyone shares or adopts their beliefs, even those who wish to join the new nobility. The school of nobility is open to everyone from anywhere and of any age. At that last comment, Ursula looked up sharply, a curious expression on her face. But, said Ursula, a deep frown on her face. Great, I love the buts, said Biella. That's where understanding is cemented. But, Ursula began again, looking at the other delegates as she did so. But I'm concerned about the unbridled optimism I see here. Everywhere I go, I see everyone I meet is without fail optimistic and positive. It worries me. People on some worlds, she trailed off. Her comments had drawn forth a reaction from the delegates. Brilliant. Ursula is thinking about solving a potential problem with and for the delegates. Yes, Comelius added. Seems somewhat unrealistic. He too trailed off. It is concerning, a delegate agreed. Makes me question themes. Seems like pessimism is a necessary ingredient in a realistic perspective of the way the world, of the world. Seems like pessimism is a necessary ingredient in a realistic perspective of the way of the world. I think you may only be seeing what you want to. It doesn't seem to be the most optimum strategy for dealing with the real world. He emphasized the real. But not pessimism either, the nervy woman who had spoken up earlier said. That's no good either. Neither one is. What do you propose is the ideal attitude? Biella asked neutrally and with genuine interest. Realism. Yes, that's it. Just be real. All this other stuff, I don't know. Most of you are politicians, Biella said. And as such, you have to deal with real issues, yes? A ragged chorus of yeses from the delegates. In dealing with issues, you have to be present. You have to present the facts as they are, both the good and the bad. You can't exaggerate one over the other. Otherwise, you get into trouble under the accuracy guidelines. Yes? Accuracy guidelines. Isn't that what we need in our world? But for later. The delegates nodded a bit glumly. For some, those guidelines were harder to live with than for others. Most of the issues you deal with have far more negative than positive to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be issues needing attention. Yes, it's hard, another woman said. Your job is in convincing the electorate to agree with solution. This is as I see it, Biella said. You don't necessarily have to come up with the solutions yourselves, but you are the ones who have to sell the solution to the voters. Not the most flattering way to put it, but yes, that's essentially what we do. And why do people vote for you? Biella asked, changing tack slightly. Because they believe in us, the woman said without hesitation. This is correct, Biella asked the delegates in general. Yes, yes, they agreed. Believe in you, not believe you. I take it that's a substantial difference. Oh, yes, a huge difference, the woman said. They don't believe us easily. Distrust of politicians is almost a genetic trait by now, it seems. Whatever we say is almost automatically treated with skepticism. But if we can get people to believe in us, then they vote for us. And what makes them believe in you? Biella asked with a soft attitude. Well, they have to know you mean to fix the problem. Not just say you will, but that you actually mean to, nods from the delegates. What makes the difference? I understand what you mean, but I'm interested from the voters' perspective. How do they make the distinction? Biella leaned forward, wanting to be sure they knew she sincerely wanted their perspective on this. The woman frowned. That's kind of hard to say. They just come to know you mean to fix things. They see it in you. They see, I guess, that you have a solution. No, that isn't enough, now I think of it. They see you truly believe the situation will work and it's a good solution. Nowadays, you can't BS the people anymore. They're too informed. They don't always have the time to do all the homework and an issue, but they know enough to know when someone is trying to pass something off on them. If we don't truly believe in the solutions we're proposing, it's a no-go. And it's not just with specific solutions. You truly have to believe a better future is possible. Yes. She looked at the other delegates for confirmation, not quite sure she'd expressed herself adequately. Yes, you have it right, one said. That's how it is. We have to truly believe what we say, and we have to truly believe things will get better. The delegates murmured assent. So you have to have a positive outlook on the future. Biella asked carefully and earnestly. Ha! The woman delegate exclaimed, a big woman, clapping her large hands together forcefully. Ha! I see it, I see it. She looked critically at Biella, wanting to determine more. She also a politician and a student, knowing how to read people. You knew positivity was the necessary ingredient, she said, but you didn't just say so. We weren't open to it, even though now it's obvious. You let us come to that obvious for ourselves, via our own experience. Nicely done, very nicely done, she said appreciatively. And yet, she paused, looking for the correct words. And yet you didn't manipulate us either. You just provided the framework for the truth to become clear. Nicely done indeed. Yes, Biella said purely. The truth is always simplest in the end. It's hard to deny. Much can get in the way. Usually what gets in the way are perspectives which fail to take the larger perspective into consideration. But once our perspective is shifted to the appropriate view, things are easily seen and typically are simple and obvious. Ursula provided her takeaway. So for me, what I get from this is when it comes to realism, we also have to be positive or optimistic. Otherwise, we'll simply get stuck in the status quo. We just have to balance. We just have balance. Sorry, we would just have balance, no progress. No progress. Not only that, but being optimistic tips the balance when it comes to attitude. If we're more optimistic than pessimistic, we believe there's hope. If we're more optimistic than pessimistic, slightly more, we believe there's hope. And hope is what makes it all okay. Without hope, there's no progress. If we are truly realistic, we must acknowledge the necessity of hope or positivity or optimism. If we are truly realistic, we must acknowledge the necessity of hope or positivity or optimism. Ursula broke into a large, cheeky smile, enjoying how the conversation had come full circle, proving and disproving at the same time, a sophistication which appealed to her. Their interaction faded into a pause, everyone digesting private thoughts. Biella filled the moment with a quote. A deliberate choice to be unrelentingly positive is the ultimate charity. From Constant Reminders of the New Nobility. A deliberate choice to be unrelentingly positive is the ultimate charity. From Constant Reminders of the New Nobility. I would like to become a new noble, Ursula said suddenly. I want to be part of this. I want to get to the bottom of things and make a difference by living those truths. I can think of no higher calling than to live by example. I want to live that optimism. The playfulness which had emerged in her leveraged that last bit of resistance. Biella leapt up and hugged Ursula with all the generosity of her being, careful to include the delegates and Comelius in her awareness. She was in effect hugging Ursula for all of them, ensuring Ursula's declaration did not set her apart in any way. Biella adjusted her, delighted the decision. So it was as if Ursula had asked to join the new nobility on behalf of the delegates. Biella was being opportunistic, an integral aspect of the way of awareness. One made use of what the universe brought. With a bit more associating, Ursula would become their new noble. The delegates would take pride in Ursula, connect with her, follow her progress, and seek to use their connection to learn more. They would now be comfortable with the new nobility, now that one of them had joined. Biella would make sure it was also something Ursula was happy about. We would be most pleased and eager to have you, Biella said, making the you a plural you, further drawing them all in. As part of the task I have been assigned, I now assign you to be spokesperson and communicator from and with the delegates. You will be both delegate and new noble aspirant, all at the same time. Your task is to learn about the new nobility from the delegates' perspective, from their side. Biella inserted side deliberately, but without overt emphasis, almost as a default expression, and to communicate as much as you can what you learn while the delegates are still here, and also to maintain a connection with the delegates into the future. Is this agreeable, Ursula? Agreeable, not acceptable. It's important, that difference. To the new nobility, acceptable is not enough. If you don't truly want this task, if it doesn't resonate with you, it's very important to say so. Only when we truly resonate with the task and we truly want to do it, are we good to do that task. You'll often see new nobles in training refusing tasks. Sometimes tasks sit for a long time until someone is found with whom it resonates. It's absolutely critical to the new nobility. This is most earnestly and honestly adhered to. But now you know there's no accepting a task to please or impress anyone. Results and value are the order of the day. The best chance of value is through sincere earnestness, coupled with a hearty enthusiasm. That sustained enthusiasm comes from a deep resonance. I love how this dovetails with our discussion. Is this good for you, Ursula? Ursula adopted a dubious expression, surveying the delegates with a critical eye. Well, I don't know so much. She left off there. But you must, Ursula, the big woman said, grabbing Ursula by the shoulder. You must. We need someone like you. You must. She was shaking Ursula slightly now. Well, you're kind of difficult bunch. I've seen you away from the public, remember? Ursula said slyly. You're going to have to help me, yes? Yes, we will, the big woman said, caught up in the moment. She was genuinely fond of Ursula and was very pleased for her, but did not want to see the opportunity slip away either. You promise to be good and nice and helpful and kind, and do whatever I ask, Ursula could no longer contain herself and burst into a huge mischievous grin. Yes, yes, whatever you need here. Hey, wait a minute. Ursula's words catching up with her. Oh, you cheeky devil, she laughed, slapping Ursula playfully on the arm. Ha, you had me going for a sec. But yes, of course, we will help you and support you, Ursula. We're very fond of you, you know. You know that, yes? Ursula nodded happily, acknowledging and strengthening the bond by including the entire group with her nods and smiles. Ursula bloomed into a new person, now clearly evident what had been on her mind. Ah, finally it all falls into place. Let's go and celebrate with a nice big meal, Biella said. Such a fantastic development. Biella marveled once again at how things worked out. So amazing, so amazing. I feel like a child again, Ursula said. Wonderful, dear, Comelius said, borrowing the affectionate endearment from the big woman, surprising everyone slightly. Many sides to Comelius, apparently. Hooking his arm into the other side of Ursula from where the big woman had done the same, they marched her off to the eating hall, the other delegates scurrying to catch up, their enthusiasm taking hold, energizing the entire group. You'll need to be a child again, Commercial was heard saying. It's the only way to acknowledge what we've so sincerely believed to be the be-all and end-all of everything is actually somewhat naive. It's the only way to proceed without our old friend ego interfering. Bravo, Ursula, bravo. I wish I had the gumption and fortitude to do what you are doing. Letting go of our entrenched self is an accomplishment. Letting go of our entrenched self is an accomplishment. Yes, Ursula said most earnestly. It's humbling to realize, even though one has had the right of it all our lives, there's actually a more right out there. Yes, Ursula said most earnestly. Yes. It's humbling to realize, even though one has had the right of it all our lives, there's actually a more right out there. End chapter 4. That last sentence. Even though we've had the right of it most of our lives, it's humbling to realize there's actually a more right out there. What a big deal. Ramsey in the jar. Good morning, Ramsey. Brilliant. I'm glad you're here, Ramsey. I'm glad you're here. Beena?
First, most important thing, you are a very good storyteller.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Narrator, yes.
That's very humbling.
was,
That's very humbling.
I was really
truly
enjoying
have
that.
to say, that when I write these, I mean, and have been in a complete and utter bubble. I never had any feedback, so I never really knew where it was. So it's just quite amazing. Not that that's the purpose of it, of course, but still, I don't want to share, if it's not going to be, enjoyable. So thank you, Beena. Thank you. All right, before you continue, because I feel like you have lots to share, I want to read Lisa's comment. Or can you read if you see?
Okay. To ignore the universe's cue is a betrayal of one's own intention. Agreed. But also, and then, who does ignore? Who commits the betrayal?
That's the
Ignoring
question.
the universe is betrayal of one's highest vibrational intention. Most useful, most helpful, and most appropriate and relevant in the moment.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. And the last quote there that Lisa says?
Okay. There's actually a more right out there. Yes.
Yes. Now put a pin in this comment of Ursula's. Pretty much the start of the next chapter. This is going to be a big topic of discussion. Poor Comelius, it scrambles his brain. Right? It's a big deal. So we're really going to get into this. It's a profound comment from I nearly said Lisa, from Ursula, but yes, also from Lisa. It's a very profound comment. However, it is a very contextually specific comment. And depending on what context you connect to it within and place it in, it can mean different things. And so this is where Comelius gets stuck, because he gets resolved eventually, but still he looks at it from a different context, and he wants to make sure. So it's a big point. This more right. In other words, we can go through our lives thinking that, what I'm doing is okay and good and right. But then you discover there's a more right. Holy crap, like Ursula. Right. So we're going to hear all about Ursula, and I'm very keen. This next chapter, by the way, all who are here, be sure to come back next week. Ursula's revelation as to why she made this decision and how she came to it, and what was going on inside her before saying that. This is something truly special, if I may say so myself. I can't emphasize this enough. It is an insight into our psychology that is a profound thing. Ursula does what unfortunately very, very, very few do. And it's a sad reality that they don't. So Ursula is here going to show us what can be done and why it's so profound, and she explains it all. Now we have to understand that Ursula is coming from a life where she's going to be the premier, the leader of the world that she is. She's kind of the second in line now, but that's just like almost a guarantee there. And she's wealthy and successful, and she's, I don't know, got lots of accomplishments and trophies, and she's very accomplished. I mean, she's like the ideal person in a regular world, right? So she's not, her shift here is not just, my life sucked and I want something more. No, it's quite the opposite, right? And we're going to see why she makes this choice and gives it all up. Yeah, you don't have to give it up, but in essence, right? It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So Ursula is sort of the one you would say is the least likely to say, I want to be an aspirant. But yet when she explains it, you'll understand, and you'll see how it applies not just to her, but to everyone, right? And Comelius, in that moment, remember Comelius, this is real-time commentary. As I was writing the story, Comelius, my friend, was engaged in a dialogue, and I just built he's not Comelius, my friend who's a different person, but his comments became Comelius's, and I didn't change any of his comments. What he says to Ursula, that you have to become a child again, it is a profoundly insightful question. And also his self-awareness of himself, that this is not something that he can easily do. He's unwilling to give up his rightness, in other words, and acknowledge there's a more right, which is why I get stuck on that topic. Yeah. So it's a big, big, big deal, this very big deal. And I was just astonished at the deep insightfulness and self-awareness and self-honesty of my friend in that comment, which is what makes Comelius such a powerful character. Yes. And the contrast between Comelius and Ursula. I just love it. All right. Sorry, Beena. I know I went off on a tangent there. I really want to hear your reaction. So again, thank you for the storytelling comment. This is most heartening to me, because again, I would never want to share something that I wasn't, at least had some enjoyment value to it.
I like the way you were changing your voice and giving and
Oh,
inserting more
thank you.
depth into it. I
I'm
really like that,
trying.
because it is just the emphasis. It's not for the
Yeah.
any vanity
Yeah.
reasons, but it is for the
Yeah.
emphasis, and
Exactly. Exactly.
to
Exactly.
make it more easy to differentiate between
Exactly.
different characters and their
Exactly.
characters also.
Exactly. Exactly.
Characters of
Yeah.
characters. Okay, in
I
this
find it
story.
difficult to do Ursula's voice, by the way. I don't
Yes.
have a
Okay.
voice quite, but anyway, keep going, keep going.
Okay. I just have a question before
Please, please,
making any
please. I
comments.
love that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And Cheryl, I'm keen to hear from you. And
Yes. Okay.
Janet, I'm keen to hear from you. I want to hear what just
And
anything,
from Ramsey and from Lisa
Correct,
and from
correct,
everyone.
correct. We're
Yes.
already hearing from Lisa, and I know I'm going to hear from Ramsey. I'm just singling out Cheryl and Janet in particular,
Yes.
because
Okay.
Ramsey, I
So
know I'll
I
hear
have a
from.
question, because this is something you also just right before this you mentioned that to be child again,
Yes.
because this is the idea of we see that in almost all the philosophies and all the
Yes.
ideologies and all
Yes.
the lifestyle, like whatever this has some spirituality involved in it. To say that to
Yes.
be childlike again, and it becomes like really an ultimate
Yes.
thing to be
Yes.
someone like that.
Yes.
So, what actually is to be childlike in Moreness project? I'm not saying in general. I'm just asking you what is different and what is more involved into this.
Ah, So Comelius says something quite profound. He
Mhm.
doesn't say you must be as a child again.
Mhm.
No, he didn't say
Yes,
that, right?
yes,
He said you must become a child again. He's quite specific in this. Yes.
yes.
Now since he's being insightful, and yes, you might think, well, he's just saying this off the cuff. Maybe, he didn't express what he means. But
Mhm.
I feel fairly confident if we did get into exactly what Comelius means there, he will say, no, you must become a child again, not as a child. You must become a child. You have to start over, in other words, right? You have to start fresh. You have to set aside all your assumptions, your knowings, your beliefs, your ideas, all of it. You have to throw it all
Mhm.
out and start fresh. Yes.
Mhm.
And well, we'll see what Ursula makes of this and how she takes this, right? Because there's a lot of discussion on what's coming, lots of it. So we'll get to see, and we'll get to see how it works. But in the Moreness project context,
Yes.
that is what it is. We are going to set our agenda, our intent, our aim, our goal
Mhm.
as being sophisticated and childlike at the same time, right? This is our end point in the Moreness project, yes? Of which this is one part only, one part, yes? However, in order to get to that sophistication, we have to build our foundation appropriately.
Mhm.
And that foundation is where we need to be a child when we start. A child, not as a child, a child. In other words, completely open. Now,
Mhm.
Beena,
Mhm.
you know this openness is receptivity. Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
capital R, receptivity. When we are truly receptive, are we not being as, are we not being a child? Right? A
Mm.
pure child. I'm not talking about children who've already been influenced and essentially, got things going on. I don't want to say corrupted, but yes, corrupted also, right? But when
Mhm.
you are a child
Mhm.
and you are listening to those that are in your life that you're looking towards, right? Well,
Mhm.
mostly it would be your parents now, right? But even older people or older kids, teachers, anyone really, what makes a child when they have that earnest innocence and they come and they ask something? Are they not maximally receptive to what you say? Are they not assuming and taking for granted? It's not even an assumption because they don't have the ability to assume yet. Are they not just taking it for granted that what you are going to say and what you are sharing and that you as a person makes sense,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
To a child, the parent makes sense. The end of
Yes.
story. There's no other way around it, right? There's no other way to think of it. So now when we look at this, we say, wow, 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 is to be a child. And so the start of the Moreness project is to come into it with this taken for granted that it makes sense. Right?
Mm. Mm.
And now, so in other words, like Ursula, you could say, Ursula has come to this point where she is taking for, well, she's not even taking for granted. She's come to a very profound conclusion and understanding that to her, she says, I want to be a part of this. Right? We have to go back to her precise words there. But
Okay.
the understanding is Ursula has come to profoundly understand that the new nobility makes sense. This is not a speculation or a guess or an assumption. It is a conclusion. Yes. And
Yes.
she has to set aside all of the right of it that she's had all her life, right? Right. She says it's humbling to realize, right, when we've had the right of it all our lives, there's some more right out there, right? So it's a very particular way of phrasing and wording, but it's very clear that Ursula says, I've understood how things work. I know how the world works. I'm successful. I'm competent, etc., etc. Yeah. So in other words, to me, I had the right of it, right? I was in charge. I was successful. I was, popular, wealthy, whatever. Every measure of the usual Ursula had. Yes. But now she says, but, but, but there's some more right. And everything I have to start all over. And this question that you are asking about, this child part, Beena, hold it, put a pin in it, because it is the absolute appropriate question. It is the entire part of Ursula the aspirant, which is the next question, right? Ursula's story, in other words, when she shares how she comes to this, why she's doing it, all the backstory, everything that comes out is going to be this explanation of why it is so critical in Moreness project. In other words, if you're going to be an aspirant, and why it is so critical to have this understanding that you have to be child, right? It's all about the receptivity. And Ursula is going to make that point. She's going to elucidate on this most awesomely. Most awesome. That's why I said last week, this coming chapter, it it is a profound chapter. It really is a very big deal to me. And I'm not, it's kind of, okay, how can you say yourself it's profound? I don't know. Well, it's profound to me, but I really do feel it is profound in a generalized sense. I feel confident that I can say so,
Okay.
because it reveals this question that you're asking in a
Okay.
very, very clear and detailed way. It
Okay. So
comes very clear.
yes. Okay. Before
Go
we
ahead.
go further, Cheryl says that, okay, I'm writing and writing and writing. It's quite a long, my takeaway.
Oh, brilliant.
So,
We love your long takeaways, Cheryl. We love your long takeaways. They are they
and this
are
is something,
most profound.
yes, I will second Sil because
Yeah,
Cheryl's takeaways
I
are
miss
so
it. I
profound.
miss it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And Janet
The,
says that I'm stuck, I'm struck by positivity being a charity, and this taking it out of
yes,
the personal and into the greater good. There is the
yes,
appropriateness, the
yes,
service to others.
yes,
If you also add
yes.
to that, and
Exactly, exactly.
so amazing. Okay. Uh,
Janet, just on that point, real quick.
mhm.
Note well. That particular quote is, it is unrelenting positivity, which is the ultimate charity, right? So unrelenting is in there. And why does it make a difference? Because if we are only, well, we can be mostly positive, but if we have that break, if we aren't unrelentingly positive, what is the
Mhm.
communication when we are not positive by inference, by implication? Yeah. Oh, well, your positivity has flaws in it. Your positivity is not real. And so it devalues the value of that positivity, right? It now brings in that deep doubts. But if we are unrelentingly positive, it takes that positivity to a new level. Yeah.
Yes.
So the unrelenting part is very important, because this means that your positivity is real. It's not hope or optimism or wishful thinking. No, it is the positivity of sobriety. In other words, it's thought through positivity. Yes, it is
Yes.
that positivity with depth. It's positivity that has meaning, that has legs, that has moreness to it. That's a very big deal, is it not? Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to add that in there. Yes. And this becomes a service to others, not because I'm telling you how to live, but my unrelenting positivity, because it's founded on sobriety, says wow, wow. If they can have this positivity and maintain it, there's something there. And that means that there's a possibility of something being there. Even if I don't know what they're being positive about, it simply raises the concept, the idea, the understanding that there is potentially something to be unrelentingly positive about. And that's a massive, 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 massive thing that we are sharing with the world. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a service to others without the typical service, which presumes to know what's good for you. I'm not saying my goal, my positivity is appropriate for you. I'm just saying there is something to be positive about. What it is, you don't know, but there is. And because I'm unrelentingly positive, it's real. It's not just wishful thinking or hope. Yeah. So
Yes.
it is an ultimate charity. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Very powerful. Very
So,
powerful. Very, very astute point there, Janet, to emphasize on. Very big deal. Yes. Yes. I love it. I
Janet
love it.
just click 3 hearts here
Oh,
and
wonderful,
so yes,
wonderful,
this is very
wonderful,
good. Okay,
wonderful.
in response.
Yeah.
Coming back to the question, because yes, being a child is actually virtually you can say that it is being receptive. But I
Mm,
was wondering about
mm.
that. Okay, why we emphasize, almost everyone, okay, emphasize on being a child, mostly in general, to make other people receptive. That is the idea, that okay, to actually introduce that, okay, to be a childlike, yeah, because you'll be more receptive. So get rid of your ego and all those things.
Exactly.
My understanding for the way of impeccability, from the way of impeccability in the Moreness project, that it is not just only
You muted. You muted.
okay,
It's not
sorry.
just only. It's not just
Yes, it
only.
is not just only to have no ego,
Yes.
but also
Yes.
because that it is about acquiring a new self. Because what childrens
Yes.
are, they are on that stage where they are becoming
Exactly.
aware of themselves, and that is so. Yes,
Exactly.
it is of course the same thing. Be a childlike, but the emphasis on to
Yes.
acquiring a new self, not just getting rid of your ego only, and
Yes.
be receptive blindly, or just okay, yes, like you ever whoever whatever you can teach or instruct or introduce to a child, they will be receptive to that. But in the
Mm,
Moreness project, I personally feel that it is about to be in that phase of that process where you are about to acquire a new self, and to be deliberately acquiring a new self. That is the main focus. This is
mm,
something I
mm,
personally
mm.
feel that.
Please read Cheryl there.
Okay.
The real quick comment. To be a child, to become child when starting something like the Mourners Project or an aspirant, is to
Mm-hmm.
let go of your paradigms. That's the key. We can't start as a child. We still have those entrenched paradigms inside us. And now we are just kind of behaving as a child, but they're still there underneath. But when we are child, those paradigms, we shift right out of it. And you get inside child paradigm, and that's what we need. You can't hold on to any of your old stuff. Doesn't work.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Norma is here.
Please. Oh, brilliant.
Okay.
Hello, Norma. Brilliant, Norma. Good timing, good timing, good timing. Ah, it's all good, Norma. Anytime you come is a good time. And it's a
Okay.
perfect
And
timing because you get to hear Cheryl's wonderful takeaway. Let's hear. Let's hear.
okay.
Please read. Please
Yes.
read.
Okay. And Cheryl says, letting go of our entrenched self, be a child, completely open and available, to embrace, to discover our mornings, goods, and bad goods.
Oh,
That
sorry.
good,
What happened there?
that brings us to the dangerous realm. I think that okay, she's might be saying and typing, so that might be.
Sorry, I
Uh,
scrolled accidentally. I didn't mean to. My hand wasn't even on the mouse. I don't know what happened.
okay.
Go ahead. Keep going. Please, please.
I was just reading and I said, okay, maybe she is saying and typing, like it's a voice to text. So it
Oh,
is
right.
Our moreness good, I don't know, maybe, and bad good, and our bad brings us to
Good
the
and bad
dangerous,
good. Yeah.
yes, realm of the mentality of the opposite. We are taught, we are programmed. Okay, it's scrolling like crazy. Okay. Mm, yes, you are good or you are bad, you are right or you are wrong. And as you mature, you are positive or you are negative. How do you reconcile or resolve when you are bad and you are good? Wrong. Okay. And you're right. Negative and you are positive. Mark. Okay. Well, fantastic. This is balance. It is real. Now, what to do with it to land on underlying unrelenting positivity, our goal?
Moreness.
Yeah.
All right. So let's read that again.
Yeah, this is what I assume, and that's what I was saying. That
Yeah.
okay,
Letting
let
go
go
of
of.
our entrenched selves. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Please read.
Be a child, completely open and available to embrace, to discover our moreness, good and bad good. Or bad brings us to the dangerous realm of the mentality of the opposite, or the mentality of opposites. Yeah, exactly. Which is that dichotomous thinking. I was thinking about that. I wanted to share about this. This is one of the dangers we have to get rid of, is dichotomous thinking. And I like this word, dichotomous thinking, because it sounds like a disease, right? And it is. And it is, right? Exactly. The mentality of opposites that Cheryl is referring to is something that says, if it's not something, then it must be its opposite. In other words, if something's not white, it must be black. If something is not good, it must be bad. If something is different to me, I'm good. If it's different to me, well, then it must be its opposite. And this is where racism and stuff like this comes from, right? Whatever's different to me must be bad because I'm good. It's horrible thinking. So this point that Cheryl is bringing up is a massive point. We are taught, we are programmed. You are good or you are bad. You are right or you are wrong as you mature. You are positive or you are negative. How do you reconcile or resolve when you are bad and you are good? Wrong and you are right, negative and you are positive. Mark. I'm not sure the Mark here, which is interesting. Comelius is my friend, his name is Mark. Well, fantastic. That is balance. It is real. Now, what do you do with it to land on unrelenting positivity? Our goal. Right? And we land on appropriateness. That's what. And we let go of things like good and bad. And we say, is it appropriate? End of story. Takes that whole range of decision out of the question. Yes. And that's all there is left, just appropriateness. It doesn't have an opposite.
Yes.
I mean, yes, you could say inappropriate, but that's just less appropriate, I guess, so.
This idea of just going into the polarities of like, okay, good or bad, right or wrong, or negative or positive. Okay, it was appropriate in the beginning when our awareness was not developed at that point. This was the thinking. This is how we start. It was also a kind of virtually childlike state where we have no more options available, lack of data, lack of information, lack of possibilities. And in that, because human mind is designed to do comparison. So it
Yeah.
was like, okay, oh, if it is something like this, so the only available option without the moreness was something opposite, exactly bad. Okay, which is of course not the case. Like we used to have just the understanding of uh, four directions, like east, west, north, south. But
Yeah.
of course, you know that there is so much in between, and of course, it cannot
Right.
be directly exactly like that. So as the awareness develop, so the comparison also should be into this consideration to develop. Unfortunately, we acquire it, but not in every aspect of our life. In some, we are like, oh yes, we need variation. How it can be? Oh, it was in older time when we only have limited, like the wired phones, the landlines. Okay, but now
Yeah.
you have more options. So
Exactly.
yes, but again, it's coming back to the same thing that okay, we are not willing to exercise and put in and invest energy in awareness as much as we spend our energy into maintaining our life. And of course, like the physical life, the existence. What Cheryl was saying, exactly this is what we are doing. And the for me, what the revelation was that it was not like I was not aware of that there are endless possibilities. Like when a person is aware of multiple shades of any color, how they can just assume that okay, things can be just only black and white or just primary colors.
Exactly.
No, it's a big count, like unlimited array of colors available and shades available and
Exactly.
tones available. So
Exactly.
when we are aware, but because our emphasis was not on learning and growing, that's why we were not applying it into that.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is the real problem for me, because yes, we have that, but it's still we not capable of, or maybe sometimes we are not
Yeah.
ready to or willing
Yeah.
to apply this understanding into all aspects of our life. And
Yeah.
that is something I learned. That's why I say that. Okay, and of course that was the first thing in the way of impeccability, that it is going
Mm.
to enhance your existing moreness, not a new moreness, existing. You're
Exactly.
aware, everything is there, everybody is aware of everything. All we need is to make it easily accessible and connected. That's it. And this is
Yeah.
what whole Nobelia-Living is all about. When people uh,
Exactly.
get past through this level of making it accessible, then they create their own possibilities and moreness. This is the ultimate goal. This is the ultimate life goal, I can say that. To
Right.
be able to create more option, more choices, more variation in our lives,
Yeah.
and not get stuck into just one or two or few.
Yeah. Perceptual boundaries.
Hmm.
And to come on Cheryl's point there in our last point. Yeah.
Yes.
My point is we are programmed to believe we are good or bad, either or.
Yes.
When in truth and in reality, we are both good and bad.
Exactly.
Both exist in us and around us.
Yes. Yes.
Right,
Absolutely.
right, right, right. Exactly, Cheryl. Exactly what you say next. I believe the terms good and bad need to go away entirely, and they do. For the new nobility, Way-of-Impeccability, they do. They go thing. We're only concerned with appropriateness, right? And in the Moreness project, it is called the Moreness project because there is the starting point that you don't acquire Moreness, you uncover the Moreness that's already in you, as what Beena was pointing out. Yeah. Now, look at what you say, Cheryl. There is only Moreness and awareness and appropriateness, precisely. So we are going away from a scale, a rate that has one polarity and another. And we are going onto a scale that just keeps going more and more and more, right? That's it. Now, when you think of this in the context of awareness, you could say, well, there is awareness and unawareness. True. But only when you don't have any awareness at all. The moment you become aware of awareness, unawareness is no longer an option because you have some awareness. Now it's simply a matter of the degree of your awareness, right? Actual unawareness, once you have understood this concept and term of awareness, once you are aware of awareness, you no longer can say unawareness is an issue because, well, you have some awareness. It's a matter of how much awareness now. That's the issue. Moreness is simply the same thing, right? Once you realize that you have moreness, it's just, well, there's more, and you just keep adding to it. You keep going. It's an unending scale of moreness. Same thing with awareness. So good and bad really becomes an issue of awareness and unawareness, or limited awareness, more awareness. If you think of all the bad things you did you do them intentionally? No. Did you do them because you were unaware in some way? Yes. There may have been, yeah, but I really did want to, be nasty to that person. Your intent at the time was in limited awareness. You thought that's what you should do. It's what you're supposed to do. You thought that was the good thing. It was in a bubble. You didn't see the bigger picture, which, oh, now that I look back and I see in the bigger picture, how foolish of me, how childish of me, how limited of me. So it was in a limited awareness choice. So when we understand bad to be synonymous with limited awareness, now it all makes sense. Yeah. So now we can't think of ourselves as bad, as in broken, rotten. No, we're just not working to the best of our potential capabilities. That's the best we knew at the time. It was a foolish best, but still nonetheless, right? It was what we thought was best at the time, even though it was idiotic and horrible. Doesn't matter. It's still what we thought was best at the time. When we understand things in this context, it's all on the scale of awareness. It's just one scale. Little awareness, more awareness. And we constantly want to keep increasing. And that's the point of that whole point of saying there's more right. Because we can get stuck in a bubble where we think our lives are right. We've got it figured out. Again, not that we're egotistical thinking we got it figured out, but we really too sort of know that, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm not supposed to do. And you've got this whole range of stuff. You sort of know what's going on, right? Even though you don't apply it, you kind of know what's there. But then you come to realize, oh, well, that's just a bubble. That's what Ursula's saying. It's a bubble, right? So she's going to jump. She's going to jump into this. It's a very, very big point. When our awareness becomes too painful to face, we have to keep going, not shut it down. Yes. You have to face and deal with the awful truth to turn it into the awesome truth, or the awful truth. Yes, awful truth. Yeah, yeah. That's why awful and awful is the same word. Yes? Awful, full of awe. Why is it horrible? We only make it so because of our egos, not in actuality so. Moreness says it's full of awe, not awful. Two different things, yes? It's only ego that makes it awful, not awful. Yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
fascinating. It's
okay.
absolutely fascinating. Sorry, not shut it down. If we do, you've lost a critical battle in the development of our awareness and discovery of awareness. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's not long enough. Keep going. Keep going. This is why we're here, Cheryl. This is why we're here. There is no such thing as too long when it comes to sharing understanding. There's no such thing. Everything you've said is pertinent and valuable and real, and we're seeing your thinking. This is massively valuable for us, and you're bringing out these fantastic points. So absolutely not. No such thing as too long. I mean, if there was, then there wouldn't be a book that we'd be reading. Right? So, no,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. Please, more, more, more. I encourage everybody to share the way Cheryl is sharing. It's really powerful to get into this depth because you're working through it as you go. And every time, even though we know this before, every time we express takeaways like this, it comes out new. There's something added every time, and we expand ourselves. We connect to more inner moreness. It's a profound thing. It is why this works so well when we do repeat backs and takeaways, right? We are expanding ourselves. So the full name of the Moreness Project is uh, the Way-of-Impeccability Self-Expansion Moreness Project. We take in Way-of-Impeccability as our core, and we're going to expand on that into Moreness and expand the self. So it's self-expansion. Yeah, yeah. It's fantastic, Cheryl. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is why we are here. And also one of our intents is to have an environment where we are open to anything. If you want to say nothing and just say hello, even not, that's fine too. If you want to share a long takeaway, that's fine. Why is it fine no matter what? Because in this environment, we have, like on Nobelia, we are going to insist on a profound, deep, sacred trust of your intent. We are trusting that your sharing is appropriate to you. Maybe for us, I don't get it, I don't understand. So what? It's the sharing that's important. Your motivations, we're going to trust. Your intent, we're going to trust implicitly. Yes. So how can whatever you share not be beautiful to us? It's coming from your moreness. It's coming from your intent to goodness. How can it not be beautiful and joyful and wonderful and awesome and valuable? And no matter if it's little or a lot, if you say nothing, I trust your intent. To say nothing is also wonderful, right? Doesn't matter. No matter what, we enjoy you and love you, no matter what. It's a fantastic system because we insist on that intent to goodness as the base motivation. So whatever you do, it is coming from a deep, deep, deep intent to goodness. Cannot be inappropriate. Cannot be. Sher says, still chewing on all of this. I'd rather process it first before I offer my thoughts. But that is a profound thought right there. That's a big deal that you're saying. In other words, I mean, somebody who's coming to this who has no clue what this is. Wow. Wow. Not everybody just jumps in and shares things. No, they think about things first. They chew on it. And they are willing to say that, hey, I want to hold off saying because I need to think more. Because there's such a premium on when you get asked a question at school. Whoever puts their hand up first, right? And if you can do it instantly and immediately, now you the wonder, the whiz kid. Hermione in Harry Potter, right? Hermione constantly with her hand up first, the whiz kid, right? There's some premium on being able to respond quickly. No, all that means is, Hermione, that you just had something pop into your head rapidly. That's not necessarily a most appropriate answer. It's just the first answer. Actually, those who don't put their hand up quickly are the ones who are being thoughtful. They're the ones who should listen to. Not you, Hermione. You just saying the first and nearest thing that comes up into your head, which could be complete nonsense. See? A little different way of thinking about it. So, all right, maybe being a bit unfair to Hermione, but still, it makes the point, though, of this assumption that we need to respond and respond quickly. Norma says, hello, Sher. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Norma's appreciating you, sure. Yes. Yes. Hello, Norma. We're appreciating you too. So, yes, there's a lot here that needs to be chewed on, which is, for those who don't know, on Sundays, I read through the chapter or the portion of the chapter, as appropriate, and then we have the discussion afterwards. But in the week, we go through it line by line, sentence by sentence, slide by slide, whatever blocks of processing are required, and we take it apart and we look inside. And what comes up, sometimes we have discussions about other things that are related, but not specifically the story. They just come up. Doesn't matter. It's connected. So we do the in-depth dissections in the weekdays, Monday to Friday, right? Hello, Miss Norma and everyone. Yes. Hello, sir. Hello, hello, hello. This magic of this environment that we have where we can share our shares. Yes. And share as well. I found deep alignment with the statement. Yes. Yes. Which one, Cheryl? Because there's a bit of delay between the comments, because there's a 30-second delay between what I say and when you hear me, and then of course the typing takes a bit of time. Most of the issues you deal with are more negative than positive, or they wouldn't be quotation issues, or they wouldn't be issues. Right. For the politician, right? If they, as a politician, when there's an issue, there's more negativity involved. If it was a whole positive thing, well, what do you need to? It's just accepted. Okay, it's all good. I don't need to deal with it. It's already taken care of. It's positive. It's wonderful. It's not an issue. Issue by definition says there's a bit more negativity involved. Now, for the new nobility's perspective, they don't call them issues. It's simply something that needs to be dealt with. It's a challenge. It's fun. Right? It's something to be explored, something to be resolved, something to be thought through to the end, something to be multiple perspectives. It's just fun. It's like, oh, we got a new, it's like a new game. I have to grow now, says Janet. A little misread there. I have to go now. Thank you all for this morning. Absolute pleasure. I'm so thrilled you're here, Janet. I'm so thrilled you're here. Absolutely just makes me very happy that you can come. Yes, that's more my pace, the daily discussions with deep internalized thought. Yes, I love those. I mean, this is a big chunk. That's why I do those, the capital R readings in the week. Because I did start to do it here in the first ones, but then it takes too long. So I wanted to get the story out so that, when we do the capital R reading, we know where it's going, so that we don't have to, you're waiting to see what's going on. So we can apply our full attention to the parts as they get revealed. Because this story, and, generally my stories, they have multiple layers to them by design. So we need to go slowly to unpack those multiple layers. To read through it in just quickly like that, you're getting a fraction of everything that's involved there, as Sher knows, and Norma too. So when we go through these in the week, it is deeply magical, and it's very, very powerful, and it's so much fun. Because I was saying yesterday, for people with overwhelm, yes, overwhelm is the perception of a huge task that has become onerous because you see it as being huge. Oh, I've got so much to do. I've got so much to do. However, if you break it down into the smallest, easiest task that you can do, when we are doing something that's easy and also important, the result is capital J, joy. So we can leverage that, yes? So when we start to break things down and we get to dealing with what's important, but it's also easy, we end up with joy. A very big deal. Very big deal. But for every issue, there is an answer or a resolution. Yes. There is always an answer for every question. Yes, there is a solution. And in this context, resolution, yes, can come even if there's not specific solution. So we can go even past solution to resolution. But yes, Cheryl, in essence, what you're saying, it may include a painful awareness, but that pain is there for our ultimate and eventual good. It may include painful awareness, but that pain is there for our ultimate and eventual good. Thus, if we perspective shift and tap into the goodness rather than the pain, it all changes. The pain diminishes, the goodness enhances, and suddenly it doesn't become so stressful, so onerous, so difficult, so problematic. All we have to do is change our perception that little bit. Yeah. Solving an issue is a positive emphasis on a positive use of energy. So the negative becomes a positive. Precisely. Ultimate strategy. Turn a disadvantage into an advantage. Ultimate strategy. That's why in Way-of-Impeccability, strategies in the Dictionary of Power, as a capital S term, as a power conception, as a self-evident sensibility. Yes, that's what's in your Dictionary of Power, self-evident sensibilities. The pain is there for my ultimate and eventual good. Or utility mate. Utility mate, ultimate mate, it's all together there. I love that, Cheryl. I love the typo. The typo reveals more. It is our mate. Yes, it is our mate in a very big way. Yes, Norma says, love yourself, Cheryl. Yes, 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 yes. Love yourself, Norma. Sometimes the things we say to others are meant for ourselves too. Right, Norma? You love yourself, Norma? I know you do. I know you do. Beena, any comments? Any comments? Please share. Please share. Any thoughts, feelings, perceptions, understandings?
I was just enjoying this whole communication
Yeah,
and experiencing the moreness, literally. Like
yeah,
how just one window can bring up so much moreness, and just
exactly.
imagine that how it would be to be really in that place. Right now, what we are
Exactly.
just creating, it's creating just a small window to sneak into this world. But just imagine that how much it will be, and how
Yeah,
much we all will be. How much all
yeah,
will be. That is something really profound for me.
yeah,
I really love that because these discussions, they are just coming that okay, out of genuine curiosity to know more, out of genuine eagerness to learn more, not just of course like exactly as you, even when you are sharing, you're sharing with this eagerness to explore more, to extract more out of it. I just love this,
yeah, yeah.
loving this process.
Exactly. 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 I would like to become a new noble, Ursula said suddenly. It was a quote I wanted to, or part of where she says something, and I want to get back to that. I'm not sure where it is, so I'm just going to read what Ursula says. Uh, I would like to become a new noble, Ursula said suddenly. I want to be part of this. I want to get to the bottom of things and make a difference by living those truths. What a sentence. I can think of no higher calling than to live by example. I want to live that optimism. The playfulness which had emerged in her leveraged that last bit of resistance. Very deep sentence. We're going to go into this in the week, but I don't know if that was what she said that I wanted to connect to. I guess not. I guess not. Anyway, we'll go through it. We'll go through it. We'll go through it. There's so much here. There's so much here. Oh, yes. And to you as well, my friend. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, this when we love ourselves, we are able to love others. Not the other way around. When we love ourselves, we are truly able to love others. Yeah. And then we get this communion that we have, because really me loving you is me enjoying myself. If I don't enjoy myself, it's very hard to love you. So we have to combine the two together. Yeah, there's that leverage again. I am listening intently. I know you do, Cheryl. I know you do. And that's the beauty and the magic and the moreness of what we do. Capital L listening, capital H hearing. We want to hear the more. We want to hear what's not said. We want to hear what's beyond what's said. We want to hear what's meant, what's intended, all sorts of things. Yes. So this is a deep point. What's connected, what's implied, what's assumed, what's taken for granted, what's expected. All of these things we want to pay attention to. So when we really, really listen, things come. Yeah. So, when we are bothered by things in others, typically it's because it bothers us in ourselves. If we're at peace with it, it's like, yeah, well, all right, if you do it, that's your thing, whatever. Right? Love all, not selectively, precisely. Precisely. We are taught to love selectively because that's the narcissist way. Yes, love me and me only. So when we understand that what we've been taught comes from this paradigm, the feudal paradigm, the narcissist paradigm, the superiority paradigm, all of it. Yeah, we're taught to love others, not yourself. Isn't that what the narcissist in charge is going to tell you? They make a virtue out of it. Well, because they want you to worship them. It's quite amazing. Yeah. Very, very, very powerful. More, Beena, more. Please share. Please share.
This
Please
this
share.
idea of love all, not selectively. This is very interesting because
Yes.
we struggle because first I
Yeah.
personally feel that we don't have a clarity of what actually love is. We,
Oh.
we
Oh.
mix it up. We mix it up with
Mm,
caring,
mm,
with
mm.
affection, with all other things. The mostly the problem I personally feel that we mix it up with romance,
Oh.
which is completely a
Oh.
different variation, a different version, and different thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we assume that because of course it is a human psychology, because of the survival thing and survival of the fittest, we have this idea of that, okay, or a romance, because this is how this whole, at least so far, the whole planet and the whole world is being designed, that we want to be really selective into this, and then we want to be the only one into that because of the survival
Mm,
mindset we have, which is, of course, I'm not going to debate about it, that, okay, it is wrong or right, nothing. I'm just saying that this is what it is for me, at least for my
mm,
understanding.
mm, mm,
But
mm,
the problem actually arises when we mix up this idea of romance with the love. Love has nothing to do with the romance.
yes.
No, it is not dependent
Yes.
on romance. No, This is, I'm just sharing again, it is my personal thinking. Love is
Yes.
something else, and the romance is something else. Problem actually is start like really happening when we mix up all those things.
Very good point, Beena. Very good
We
point.
we 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 actually expect respect, trust, care, affection, romance, and then we
Mm,
just call it, and some of course more, but then we call it love.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
not only one aspect or one thing.
Yeah.
So this thing needs to be very clear in our mind where we want to have a romance. Then of course, okay, this is one aspect of my life, and I want to be like really exclusive, and of course be selective into this thing. Okay, my choice.
Mm,
But
mm,
can I select people for the respect, for the due respect? No, it has to be due, but
yeah.
not like, okay, I can just say that, okay, I'm not going to respect anyone who I don't know. I do respect them as I know, of course, as
As
you.
far as I know, and you respect their potential.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's a very mixed up, jumbled up idea of love we all have. Oh,
Mm,
this is something.
mm,
Okay, romance is also included into that.
right.
Our,
Right.
our relationships also included into that. Trust is
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
included
Yeah.
into that.
Right.
Respect is also
Right.
into it.
Right. So it comes down to our conceptionality. We are
Exactly.
taught that a conception has a fixed specific meaning. And we
Yes.
aren't taught that something like love can have an infinitude of meanings. Yes.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if we try to get specific, so
Yeah.
we need to learn this abstract thinking to say, love is a variable that depends, right? Love is a
Yes.
relationship. It's a choice of positivity, choice of positive perspective. So,
Yes.
a lot of comments here. A lot of comments here. Ramsey
Okay.
says, I discovered in my life that the more negativity came my way, the more irrelevant and normal they became. Everyone's cup differs in size from person to person. Self acceptance, self love, see, independence of being.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This goes for positivity and moreness too. Even moreness becomes habitual, and you always look for more. Yes, yes, we can shift those. And pain not necessary, says Norma. Exactly. Exactly. It's an unnecessary choice for the most part. Yes, especially, emotional, psychological pain. Yes, Beena. Yes, Beena, says Cheryl. I'm not sure exactly to what, but I agree. Yes, Ramsey, we are creators, says Norma. And Cheryl says, what is love then, Beena, to you? Let's hear. Let's hear. And what do you mean by respect, says Norma.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me,
Love. Sorry, I
okay.
want to just add that Cheryl says love can have an infinitude of meanings. I love that. Every
Exactly.
single time we love, it's different. Yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But
for
but
me,
so love and
any
respect, love and respect.
yes. Okay. So for me, love personally, this is my understanding, and it's just I'm just formulating it. You can say that, or trying to articulate it as you asked, Cheryl. I never actually thought in terms of like really defining it, but for me, any connectivity or any yes, any connectivity with other person where I don't have any needs or dependency involved into that is love for me. Any
Say again,
connectivity,
please. Say again,
any
please.
connectivity. I'm looking for a more precise word other than connectivity.
Wow.
So for me, any connectivity which is beyond any kind of need or dependency is love.
Wow.
Where I'm
Wow.
not feeling dependent on anyone. There is no need. I have no obligation, but I want to keep this connectivity alive. This is what love
Mm,
is.
Choice, choice, choice.
Yes, choice, but also that it has to be more in detail, because yes, choice can be in every aspect of our life.
But it's a choice
Uh,
to connect, a choice to interact, a choice
yes,
to
yes, okay, but
enjoy.
yeah, but of course everything is choice. But for love specifically, when we go beyond these needs and dependency, this is love.
Yes.
because we are talking about
Yes.
love in a specific context. Romance is something different. Trust is something different. Respect,
What is
as
this?
was, yes, as was Norma was saying, that is different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
what do you mean by respect? Can you elaborate as much as you can on respect?
yes, for me, respect is
Mm.
giving due attention and in energy. Yes, okay, how to say that?
Mm,
I
mm.
need to articulate it better. So
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. And
I'm just trying my best. So respect is something that, okay, I when I give, yeah, how to say that still? I'm struggling a bit to articulate it.
you did say respect is the assumption and insistence of value
Oh, yes, yes, and a bit more that, okay, when I am
and
paying attention, when
sensibility.
I'm paying attention is giving a respect, and also that, of course, being receptive is also a
Right,
respect, and
right. Uh,
having trust is
in,
also respect.
in
But
other
mainly
words,
this, but mainly in on a more basic words, when I am investing my energy in something, I'm giving respect. That's it.
exactly. It's in other words, respect is saying you are worth my energy, worth my time
Yes.
and energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's an assumption of moreness, an assumption of sensibility, an assumption of value that goes into it. If you disprove that there is sensibility and value, well, then it's hard to give respect. But when we look at respect in this sense, it's hard not to respect anybody, even even a craven criminal, because we are respecting that despite being a terrible person, you still have value in some way or another,
Yes.
right?
As
You're not
human, as human, we have
exactly,
this thing.
exactly. You're just caught
As
up in a bubble. Exactly.
exactly, you even okay, awareness that we are all equal. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm not getting Norma, in which context you're saying that awareness that we are all equal.
We aren't.
Exactly, this is what I was
Yeah,
about to say.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
we are
yeah.
not.
Well, we are, but we aren't. Okay. So we are all equal in the sense that we are all respect worthy. Yes. We are all equal in the sense that we can learn, and that awareness is something that we seek. Yes, and that we all have the capacity to be aware in whatever degree. But how we express that awareness, and how much we learn, and what we learn, etc., our likes, our predilections, all of this stuff, these make us different. And when we are different, we are not equal. It's as simple as that.
We cannot be.
Right. So we have to understand that when we say we are all equal, it applies in some aspects, but not in others. And it's very important to make that distinction. Very, very important. Because we can get stuck in this idea of being equal. And it's an idea that comes from the superiority paradigm for those who feel like they don't make the efforts that they know they should do, and then they want to say, oh, but we're all equal. In other words, I can get by with my lack of effort. No, sorry. Oh, Michaela's here too. Wonderful. Lisa, where are you? I'm very keen to hear from you, Lisa. Very keen, very keen. I really want to hear from you on this. It's a big point. So when we say this equality, we have to understand that it is the equality that is based in terms of our potentiality and things like respect and love. Yes, I don't love any trees more or less than any others. All right, I might like some trees that appeal to me, but essentially I love all the trees. They're all equal in that sense. But I also understand that they're all different, right? So equivalence and equal also very different, right? So the trees aren't the same, and we have to really be careful when we use this term equal, that we don't try to make it mean the same. We're not the same. We're very, very different. And this is the glory of who we are. And I love that difference, celebrate that difference. But in that sense, we're not equal, but we are equal in the sense that we are all love worthy. We are all capable of awareness. In that we are all equal. Yes. Yeah. So it's a very profound thing. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Each, I believe, differs in the choice. I mean, how can we be equal if we walk these different paths? There's no such thing. Yeah. And personally, I'm very happy that there's not equality, because I learn. If it was all equal, we wouldn't be learning. Yeah. Sher says, to me, love is an acceptance and appreciation of self, life, and the you. Yes. 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 Cheryl is enjoying your comment there. She says, wow, Beena. Lisa, very keen to hear you. Very keen. Yeah, I don't believe we are all equal. Again, equal is one of those contextually appropriate terms that you have to define the context to know what it means. So I generally try to avoid this term. It's like right and wrong. It doesn't really go anywhere, right? And it brings up all sorts of problems. To try and insist we're all equal, it is because there is the comparison mindset, the comparative mindset, it's coming up and it's not really working, right? So now we need a way out of the comparative mindset. Just let it go entirely. Let go of this whole idea of equal and unequal. We are all just who we are, and that's it. We celebrate somebody else. I don't care if you equal more or less to me. It's totally irrelevant. You are you. You are beautiful and wonderful and mournous and fantastic, and I enjoy you. End of story. End of story. Why do I need all this other stuff? That's all superiority paradigm stuff. So we're trying to get out of this. So that's why I don't really particularly enjoy this term equal. It has too many implications of looking to justify. For many people, they use it to justify the fact that they've been a bit indulgent and lazy and not done what they know they themselves think they should do. Not what I think they should do, but they think they should do. And now they will say, oh, well, we're all equal. That makes me okay. That makes my indulgence okay. No, it doesn't. It's just, self BS that you're applying. So this is a very dicey term that we have to be very careful of, right? And also, well, if we're all equal and I do and I transgress, then I want to be treated as if I hadn't transgressed. No, that's not going to work either. So in the superiority paradigm, this term equal is very corrupt and abused and misused and used as negative or inappropriate leverage to get things that aren't ideal. So yeah, just have to be careful. So we just, why can't we just celebrate each other and apply these other concepts, which is, I see your moreness. I realize you struggle with unawareness. Why do I realize this? Because this is my entire life. This is my entire life. It's the acute awareness of my nincompoopery. Does that mean I can't love myself? No. Does it mean I'm not a nincompoop? No. It means I am a nincompoop, but I can still love myself, right? So we are all equal in our uniqueness. Exactly. It's a very contextual term. In that context, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like when we look up in the heavens and the stars, you see stars out there, yeah? Do you say, oh, you know what, that star's more than this one? No. You love all the stars. Are they all the same? They might look the same to our eye, but they are clearly not if you start looking at them through telescopes and stuff. They're massively different. There's a huge variation in the stars. And some of the stars that we're seeing aren't even stars, they're planets, right? So this is a very profound thing that, yes, when you start to really look at the uniqueness, they are equal, but we enjoy the uniqueness. We love the uniqueness. It's magical every time. There's no better or worse stars out there. They're all fantastic. They're all magical. Yeah. By the way, as a nice proof of the impossible being possible, when you look up in the sky when we were kids, oh, so many stars, and it's synonymous with the countless stars in the heavens above, right? I mean, it's part of our language as an expression. So if I said to you, oh, you know what, you guys, could you go and count the stars? You say, oh, come on, really? This is an impossible job. Each and every one of you can actually count the stars that you see in the sky above you. All of you can count to 5,000, can you? If you can count to 5,000, you can count the stars. If you can count to 5,000, you can count the stars in the night sky. There are less than 5,000 stars visible in the night sky to us. Visible, right? So that's what you can count. It's like 4,600 something. Yeah, we think it's countless, but it's not. We just don't know how to conceive of more than, I don't know, more than a dozen or two. That's about as much as we conceive in one go, maybe 100 or so, But to get to conceive thousands, we don't have example, but our brains can't register this. Isn't that funny? Snowflakes, yes. Each and every single snowflake is different to each and every other one. Yes, and they are precious, each and every one of them. Yes, exactly. We are all equal is a term invented by governments to punish us, or more to manipulate, maybe. Yes, I don't know about punish, but yes. And Norma says, "Ooh, yes, equal, but all different." Absolutely. And that's the point I'm really making an effort to emphasize, that yes, we are equal in some contexts, but in others we are not. And that not is not a negative, it's a positive. So inequality becomes the magic. Non-equal, because that's difference. Yeah. Uniqueness. We each resonate a unique tonal frequency, our own sacred geometry. Yes. Another way of putting it. Absolutely. Another whole path at this. Yes. Exactly. It's just too magical. It's too magical, in other words. I love it. I'm pleased that you came and shared again, Lisa. I really like to hear from you. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal, as it is hearing from Norma and Ramsey and Cheryl and Janet,
Oh,
who was here. Who else? Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? I hope
sure.
not. Sure. Yes. Yeah, sure comes on Zoom, so so take sure for granted a little bit. Sorry, sure. It's just just part of the Zoom side of things, I think. So it's sort of it's just the commenting. I was meant the written comments. Yeah, normally she comes and shares. Yeah. So, but yes, I don't take it for granted. We'll hear more of her in the week, of course. And now on this point of equality, this is going to come up next week. If you can't come in the week, this is going to be a big part of Ursula's share. Right? Again, come make an effort to be here next week, please. Very important, yeah. And also, share. I'll be tagging everybody who's not here. Say, hey, come, you gotta come for this. It's a big deal next week. There's a lot coming. Yeah, it's a long chapter again. It's in 2 parts. I think maybe even 3, but it's a big deal. Oh, that reminds me. See, Beena, I didn't get to do it, but that's okay. We'll do it afterwards. So if you guys go back, we are one, the ultimate equality. Precisely. This is the new nobility's perspective. Now, of course, we're equal because we're all part of the one. It's like saying you take a drop out of the ocean. Yes, technically that drop has got a very slight difference in configuration to the drop next to it. It's got a few different little microorganisms floating in one anyway. And so no 2 drops are the same. And like no 2 snowflakes, literally no 2 snowflakes are ever the same, which is the most incredible thing. There's zillions of snowflakes, but they're never the same. But they're all part of the ocean. So all you're seeing is another aspect of yourself that's been removed from the whole when you see somebody else. You're just looking to understand the whole through others. Every other person is a variation of me. So how do I not enjoy you? How? Resonance with our universe. Exactly. So when we understand we are all each other, it's just that, you chose that path. And okay, that path, you might say, wow, that path really worked for me. That path wasn't the best choice. Maybe next time I'll choose differently or whatever. Either way, we learn from it, right? So your path helps me. Whatever choice you made helps me. That's why we celebrate each other. I have some great beastie floating around here. Sorry, beastie, you need to go outside. You are not welcome inside. There you go. Out you go, beastie. Thank you. I like it when the beasties are obedient. Very helpful when they listen. Yeah, I don't mind them, but I don't want to be at the receiving end of beastiness either. Resonance with our universe. When we understand we are the universe, we're just in a fragmented portion of it so that we can get perspective. When you are the ocean, it's hard to see that you are the ocean. It's only when you are a drop removed from the ocean that, oh, now I realize I am a drop and I realize there's an ocean. When you're in the ocean, this is almost impossible to be aware of. Yeah, it's the way awareness works. See? Yep, it was a flying beastie. Great big thing. So, yeah. Well, it was around, and I was like, "Hey, you gotta go." And went and sat on the screen door. Opened the screen door. Sometimes when you go open the screen door, then they fly back in again. They don't respond. No, this one nicely, patiently waited. I opened it, and off it flew. No fuss, nothing. Very obedient beastie. Yeah, very nice, very nice. I love it. I love it. Love it. Any more comments from anyone before we end? Before we go, I'm so reluctant always to end. It's such a joy, such a beautiful joy.
Oh, yes, it's a joy, and it's a moreness, of course, as like
Exactly.
it is a
Oh,
mechanism to.
sorry. Hold that thought, Beena. There was a reason I was gonna share something, and I forgot to do it. And okay, so for all of you that go and read the slides, you may want to actually go back and reread them. Why am I saying this, Beena?
Okay.
Why must I go back and reread? What
Why?
is it that I didn't add on to this particular
Oh
section?
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh yes. All right. So let's go back a little bit in time, right? So I need to just raise awareness on this point. Yeah, I'll show you in a moment. So if you recall, for those of you that are following the story part, at the very end of the Seeding the Dream prologue, right? The part that is about how they got to be in this universe and how the new nobility got started, and then how the gods came into it and how they interfered and they had the dispersal of all the ships, right? So in the story, it starts off with this grand plan, the project to seed the stars from the corporation and the impossible becoming possible, and then the great gravity engines, when this was truly something that was supposed to be scientifically impossible, actually got to be discovered, and now it's like this whole new paradigm shifts in humanity where the impossible can be possible. But the one thing they forgot was that maybe the old gods were actually really true, and they really exist, right? So all those myths, of course, the myths are all exaggerated, but this as a possibility was sort of ignored. It was just superstition, nonsense. But it turns out this actually was so. Now, it's a nice mechanism for the story, and you'll see whether or not we actually think so or not is totally irrelevant. It's a wonderful, and there's a lot of it for the story, and it's heading somewhere. There's a good reason for it. But as part of all of this, if we recall at the end of that prologue, right, if we get here to the very last part of the prologue, we have a comment. We have something from Anu, who'd called the
You're not
current
sharing
councillor.
screen.
Oh, I thought I was. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. I started to share and then I got halfway and I stopped. So Anu, who'd called the current council of the gods, addressed her focus at Mercury and Jesus. We've been following your grand plan for many centuries, and now we've come to a culmination of sorts. Yes? Affirming nods from the two planners. In particular, we are here to observe an individual, a potential, a maybe, one who herself might be culmination. Let's see where this goes, if it can. So now we've got this point here of the gods commenting, watching, paying attention to what's going on Nobelia. They're paying attention to Biella specifically and all of the doings around Biella. Now, I had intended to add commentary from the gods to the story, but lots of things happened and I got behind. So so we started doing this capital reading before I had a chance to add in that commentary from them. But I have caught up now. So when you go back and look at the stories, the chapters, there is the commentary from the gods, and I'm going to go through it real quick now, just to share with you guys here, so that you can be caught up, because it's really fun stuff, and sometimes it's not a lot, it's just a little, but it's there. So is this where it is? I think so. Yeah. Right. So this is at the end of just one word chapter, right? Where Biella shares this one concept. You wake up on a foreign planet, you only could have one concept. Which would you choose to have your concept? And of course, it's appropriateness, right? So now this is the commentary on this interaction. Nintu, surveying the council with a critical and somewhat disapproving eye, asked, why in all the centuries did none of us ever think of appropriateness as a philosophy, as a one concept? Why? None of the gods responded, as there was no answer to this condemnation. Mercury jumped in, to salvage perhaps, or pile on. We promoted love also, but never did we promote love with awareness, as we should have in retrospect. We have much to learn. That's all there is to it, Jesus soothed mildly. We can never forget this. What I learn from our focus is her passion. No, her need to learn, learn, learn. Yes, added Nantu. And then that need to apply added to it all. Zeus sighed, a sigh to melt mountains. We never thought we needed to evolve our concepts. Yeah. Right. So this is just, I'm just saying in terms of, this is bringing a deep added perspective to matters. Yes. So it's like, wow, wow, wow. The implications of this are huge, that the gods are saying, they're in a position of sophistication and understanding and awareness and looking at things from wherever they are, right? They can have a nice overview perspective, but they too are learning. Yes, they too are learning. So just going to go through the comments here real quick while we're on it, because it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So Beena, read for me there if there are comments on these comments from the gods. Oh, where did I go? The infernal machine. And where did we put the comments from the infernal machine? Were there comments in the beginning? Which one had the comments in the beginning? Oh, no, I think that was on the next chapter. So this one, it's at the end again. Yeah. And what do you guys think of these? This.
Okay. Cheryl is saying that, okay, I must run. Wishing everyone an
Oh, okay.
amazing day filled with love. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Much love to you,
Cheryl. Thank
Cheryl.
you. Thank
Much
you.
love to you and everyone, of course.
Yeah.
This idea is
Cheryl, real quick before you go, this is the
I
comment
know.
from the gods at the end of the infernal machine, right? The machine that Charles reacted to, and Biella and some of the other novels. And the only comment from the gods is, Mercury, was that your doing? That's it. That's it. Because Mercury is kind of known as a bit of a troublemaker, but mischievous, So it goes to some fun. So anyway, yes, I love that you were here, Cheryl. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is too magical that you came. I'm so pleased, so pleased, so pleased. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So carry on with what you were saying.
No, I was just saying about Cheryl that, okay, she is going now, but these things, okay, I would literally encourage, okay, I want to encourage everyone to go through these slides again, because this is going to change the whole
Yeah,
perspective and the idea of the story, because that has become
yeah,
really fun now.
yeah,
And also that because of course these stories now including the concept of gods, the gods, quote unquote.
Yeah.
For me, as of course, as a monotheist, as a practicing Muslim, it was like, what is the idea?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was, but the power of receptivity and the power of trust, because when you make deliberate choices, then you feel and then you have acquire that capital T trust in your choices. Then whatever comes, which might seem like that, oh, it is completely contradictory, or it is going against the ideas I have, everything and all the things are welcome. They become welcome literally, because you have the trust that whatever choices I have made in my life were capital C choices. And now I have capital T trust on them. And also, on top of that, I'm open to update.
Exactly.
Then it is
Exactly.
fun. Then it becomes
Yes.
fun. And this is what is
Yes.
happening with me. And I enjoyed that.
Yes.
I truly
Yes.
enjoy that.
Yes. And the reason for bringing the gods in is because they are, of course, the ones responsible for the superiority paradigm, right? It's all comes from them, right? Their logic, their mindset, whether they be real or imagined, it makes no difference. Whether they be projected in terms of, the narcissist view projected onto gods doesn't really matter. At least in our cultural point, if you go back to the myths, this is the whole point of Homer, which at least in Western culture, right? Well, you can find it in other things too, like very old documents like the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It starts with Krishna. He's commenting on a war that he's involved in, a war for heaven's sake. Yeah, he's a god, but
Yes.
he's involved in a war. So when we look at these, I mean, the whole Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey, it starts this whole Trojan War that goes on for decades. It starts with a spat, a tiff, a trivial, ridiculous, petty little ego thing between gods. The most trivial of reasons. And Odysseus at the end of it says, "Bah, essentially, what was all this for?" And because he points out that it was something trivial and ridiculous and petty, he gets essentially punished by having all these challenges to get home, and it takes him 12 years to get back home. Right? And he overcomes all those challenges, proving that, hey, you know what? Even if the gods sort of have it in for you, you can use your intelligence and sense. You're not reliant on the gods. And he changed everything because of this. He set humanity free from this saying, well, I can't do anything without the gods. He proved it wasn't so. Even if the gods are against you, you can go. So the gods are here to they themselves have come to realize the error of their ways, but they give this contrasting perspective, right? Because we don't have the superiority paradigm perspective. So some of them still have this and they understand it. So in the Biella and the New Nobility, where Biella shares the story about the how the name agglomeration comes in. Yes, it starts with trying to figure out Ursula, but also where they now getting on this topic of manipulation. So Zeus says, "Bah, manipulation. It's a science and a skill." Zeus grumbled. Yes, indeed, Nantu began diplomatically, as well as sometimes an abuse. Sometimes, Mercury chuckled, and not sparing his amused glance at Zeus. Yeah. So he kind of sticks it to Zeus a little bit, right? Because Zeus was very much known to be very manipulative and abusive. I mean, he was quite a dreadful fellow, right? Quite horrible. So again, see contrasting perspective. That's the point of these comments from the gods, right? And I do like them. They do add a lot. So they typically come at the end, but not always. Yeah. Here's one in that's in the start. Yes. Oh, Comelius, Jesus empathized. You are at heart so many who share your burden. Not wanting to immerse in the conundrum of Comelius, Nantu shifted topic. Something to emphasize, perhaps for us. This magic of collaboration during and in discussions. Just wonderful. If only. Nantu's
Wonderful.
making the
Okay.
point about that how Comelius and Ursula are being involved and how Ursula pulls them in and how she has collaboration. and how wonderful that is. Yes, Beena, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. No, I need to go now. And so
All
I was
right,
just
right.
saying that, okay, I must run. So we'll
Okay,
see you
okay,
tomorrow, everyone. And
okay,
then on our regular time at 10, and we will go into details. So, okay. Yes,
okay.
I'm just saying that, Sil, if you
Yeah,
want to continue, please
yeah.
continue. And
Yeah, yeah.
then,
I think what I'll do is I'll leave this comment here because it's a long comment from Nantu brings Shiva into it, and Shiva, she asks
yes,
Shiva, "What do you make of Biella?" And
yes, yes,
Santu gives a Shiva gives a fantastic comment here, right? Or it's more like a discernment and elaboration, like a little mini lecture almost, but not really. But it's a long point that Shiva makes, or a long comment. And it's wonderful stuff. So I'll share it for next time. We'll start with that,
yes,
and because it's now connecting, and it's going to connect to Ursula, right? Because we have a good sense of Ursula, but we're lacking a bit of a sense of Biella. But now we're going to do this. We're going to get that next time. So perfect. So all right, Beena, I'll see you soon. Hopefully, you're going to come back, I
yes,
assume.
yes, we'll see. Yes.
All right, wonderful. All right,
Okay,
I'll be here.
everyone.
All right.
Bye for now.
Yeah. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. And love you all too much. It's too wonderful. All right. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.